into a global recession. Certainly not the Chinese government, that's for sure. Particular critics have been arguing that if China had not implemented the red lines policy, Evergrande would not be in this situation they are in today. The global economy would be in a safer position. However, things are not quite as simple as this. This Evergrande tale didn't start with the red lines policy, to be fair. The policy only had the effect of exposing the tumor that was growing in China.
Hello guys, before starting the video, please check down in the description and the pinned comment for a special offer on a China market book for $16.95. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please like and share the video, subscribe to this channel, and click the bell icon for more updates. The rope has finally snapped. Evergrande has been walking on a tightrope on this circus show. Of massive debt, every single step the real estate developer was taking felt like it was just a bleak attempt at avoiding the inevitable. Eventually, the company just fell off the edge. China's property market is the world's largest asset class. Evergrande famously takes up a big piece of the pie we've been anticipating. And I am somewhat calculating when this untimely demise would suddenly happen. Spoiler alert, welcomes to the other side of China's property market demise. In this video, I'll cover Evergrande's default and the Chinese government is planning on doing about it. This is not a video that you can ignore. Evergrande might be the start of an international market. After surviving the Lehman Brothers, forest fire, America is all too familiar with one of those. Who knew that 3 red lines could have the effect of potentially crashing the long-built Chinese economy and potentially spiraling the rest of the world into a global recession? Indeed, not the Chinese government. Certainly, particular critics have been arguing that if China had not implemented the red lines policy, Evergrande would not be in this situation they are in today. The global economy would be safer. However, things are not as simple as this. Evergrande tale didn't start with the red lines policy. The policy only had the effect of exposing the tumor growing in China developers themselves. They failed to keep a good balance between their assets and their debt. They bit off more than they could chew. The money was there, and it was available quickly with barely any consequences. They took it and reinvested in other enterprises that mostly now look like a joke. China's developers kept borrowing and showing their grand plans for the bright future of real estate in China as collateral residential property. After all, it was a commodity that the Chinese people knew to be stable and bring solid returns. The more property you could get, the better your future would be. It's been a rite of passage. For every working adult resident in China, this is how the tumor grew. The frenzied purchases and the desperation of Chinese locals to put their hard-earned savings into something secure. When the government made the land a commodity that they could sell to their residents, they might as well have taken a microphone and shouted in the streets that this thing is secure, and you can bet on this. The Chinese people did bet. They poured in everything they could. The overpricing of those properties was no deterrent. It fueled the buyers because they thought they would make more of this property. In the future, the land will move from being a source of shelter to being a source of speculation and safe investing. Developers I ran with that, and here we are. Red lines or not, the cancer was already. Those lines just flashed it to the world that the disaster would eventually hit. At least the lions gave a warning shot to investors. With their money tied up in the Chinese property market, they weren't entirely blindsided. Most investors and individuals aren't strangers to liquidity problems. The Evergrande default, the Chinese real estate developer allegedly defaulted on more than $1.2 billion worth of bond debt. For the first time since it shot into the limelight for its massive borrowing, Evergrande had missed the initial deadline. The 2 coupon payments on that bond were now operating in the grace period given for the meeting. The obligation was no surprise, as this had been characteristic of how they had been paying. The grace period ended on Monday for the other coupon payments, officially putting Evergrande into default status. Fitch downgraded Evergrande status to a restricted default rating. Of investors aren't happy about this because the default has been long drawn out. That would otherwise be going crazy. However, some critics think the government takes over Evergrande in turn. It is into a state-owned enterprise under the disguise of helping. It could have been their plan all along, this explains the calm responses that the government has always given about the property market. The slowdown in the purchase of homes in China doesn't assure real estate investors. Their return on investments will be approving the proposition of property taxes on Chinese residents. Who owns more than one property is also another challenge in the slowly declining Chinese home market, the future for China's real estate market. It is uncertain and becoming less and less attractive now. Its once grand Evergrande is closing off as just one of the nation's most significant debts. Restructurings. What happens to the Chinese economy post-restructuring remains to be seen. Never underestimate the power of leverage balance. Evergrande is paying for that. Let's hope Santa's gift to the rest of the world is not an Evergrande-induced global recession. Please don't wait to ask in your comments section if you have any other queries. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Please like and share the video, subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon for more updates.